praises to the Most High God. Yahweh ba Shema Mashiach Malak Yahweh Shai. So again, we breaking down funerals. How did we conduct funerals in the ancient world, man? Right? How did we go about these things? Because the scriptures say Jacob is the former of all things.
That's right.
Right? Did we deal with cremation? Right? Did we deal with, all kind of crazy stuff that the heathen deal with? Give me Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 2 real quick, Kane. Because the scriptures say what? Learn not the way of the heathen. A custom of the heathen is cremation, right? Cutting off limbs, right? Hanging it up in your museum, right? That's not thus saith the Lord. All right, bring it out.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 10 and verse 2. Thus saith the Lord.
Thus saith Yahweh Shema Shai. Read on.
Learn not the way of the heathen.
What the Lord say?
Learn not the way of the heathen.
So we can't learn the ways of the other nations, man. We got to stick to the way of our forefathers. Give me Jeremiah chapter 6, verse 16. And our forefathers dealt with a burial in the scriptures. Scriptures say neglect not his burial. We're going to put that precept. Bring this out.
Jeremiah chapter 6, verse 16.
Right.
Thus saith the Lord, stand ye in the ways.
Stand ye in the ways. Read on.
And see, and ask for the old paths.
So you got to follow the old path. Right? You got to follow the commandments of the Lord. Things that was laid out by our forefathers. Read on.
Where is the good way, and walk therein.
And you got to walk within the good way in every aspect of your life. Even when dealing with death, you got to walk in the good way. You got to deal with death according to the commandments of the Lord. Right? Neglect not his burial. Weep 7 days. Right? Don't let the depression spirit overcome you. You got to still deal with thus saith the Lord even when you're dealing with death. Okay? And with that, I yield.
I got just quick too. Go to Sirach, the 38th chapter. Neglect not the burial. Just went over my.
Start at verse 18 for real. Yeah. Eat the whole road.
We'll start at 16. Let's see.
Sirach 30 and verse 16.
38.
30, Salakia.
Check it out.
Chapter 38 and verse 16. My son, let tears fall down over the dead.
Right. We're not immortal, right? We still give up the ghost. We're in a fleshly body, right? So we're going to have a lot of loved ones that give up the ghost and, hey, bring it out. We're going to touch on it.
Real quick, I was going to say death is a part of life, man. Right? Right through the sin of Adam, now all men are subject to receiving death and seeing the grave. All right? And that's spoken about in Genesis, the 3rd chapter. Right? And 2nd Esdras, the 3rd chapter. But you got it, brother.
My son, let tears fall down over the dead.
Right, you're going to find yourself crying for the ones that gave up the ghost, even if they perhaps worldly family members. Right. It might be your brother, your cousin, your mother, your aunt, your uncle, your sister. Right, even if they're not in the truth, you're still going to give up, tears for them. Because you still love them at the end of the day. We don't rejoice in the death of our brethren, even if they don't keep the commandments. Because not even the Lord, is pleased with the death of the wicked. Like when it's saying Wisdom of Solomon, I'm going to try and get it real quick. That's Wisdom of Solomon, the 1st chapter. You beat me to it. It's a little further. Wisdom of Solomon 1 and 22. No. 2 and 22. No, 1. Oh, I'm at 2. Slakia. 1 and is that at? 13.
For Yahweh made not death.
Go ahead.
Neither hath he pleasure in the destruction of the living.
Right, so he doesn't have pleasure in the destruction of the living. He doesn't get his rocks up. Yeah, I'm glad you gave up the ghost. Right? So go back to Sirach 38 and 16.
Sirach 38 and 16. My son, let tears fall down over the dead and begin to lament, as if thou hadst suffered great harm thyself.
Right.
And then cover his body according to the custom, and neglect not his burial.
Right, neglect not his burial. This implies that we had a burial system set up, right? So when a man gave up the ghost, there are certain things that followed that you had to do.
Yeah.
Because man even wrote out a will in the ancient world. Let all things be done. Let all things be done in writing.
Yeah, Salaki, it's important it's important to do these things, man. If you don't do these things, you in sin, man. Right? You cannot neglect the burial. I just wanted to look up that word burial. Look up burial. if your loved one die, you can't just let their body rot in a room.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, that's bugged out, man. You gotta make moves too. You gotta make haste, right? It's like any funeral in today's time. They kind of make haste. They might put together a GoFundMe or things of that nature, and they make quick moves. Because if you don't bury the body, it's like the body is going to begin to rot and decay. Okay? So burial, the action or practice of entering a dead body, burying, committal, entombment, inhumation, a funeral rites, obsequies, sepulture, exequies, whatever that shit. Right? A ceremony at which somebody's body is interred, a funeral. So that's what it is. Pretty much a burial is a funeral. So we dealt with funerals in the ancient world. Okay? Yeah, I'm going to appreciate it.
I gotta give me Psalms 119 and 111, right? Because this whole Bible, this is our culture and our heritage. Like it says, don't neglect the custom of his body, right, and the burial. Right, so bring this out. 119 and 111, Psalm.
Psalms 119 and 111.
Right.
Thy testimonies have I taken as an heritage forever.
Right, so these testimonies, right, we take for a heritage forever. Right, we got to be proud of our heritage, man. Whatever our forefathers did, that's how we got to rock, man. Because it's the best heritage on the earth. The heritage of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. Right, read?
For they are the rejoicing of my heart.
Right, and this heritage is the rejoicing of our heart. Now, give me Ecclesiastes 6 and 3, going into the importance of an actual burial. Right, actually putting somebody in the ground. It's off to get cremated in this thing, man. Right, bring it up.
Ecclesiastes chapter 6 and verse 3.
Right.
If a man beget 100 children,
right,
and live many years, so that the days of his years be many, and his soul be not filled with good,
right,
and also that he have no burial.
Right, so you can live 200 years, have hundreds of kids, right? This is an honor, right? But if you don't have a burial, read.
I say that an untimely birth is better than he.
Right, an untimely birth is better than a premature child born 4 months early, right? That's better than a man that lived many years and have many children, right? If he don't have a burial. Having a burial is a big thing in Israel, man, right? All the righteous men, and they had burials, right? Give me Genesis. Give me Genesis chapter 30, chapter 35, I believe. Right, get some examples of burials. I gotta find this precept, brother. You can bring yours up.
Bring out Genesis chapter 23, verse 1. Right, because Abraham buried his wife. Genesis chapter 23, verse 1.
This is the book of Genesis chapter 23 and 1. And Sarah was 107 and 20 years old.
127 years old. Okay, read on.
These were the years of the life of Sarah. And Sarah died in Kirjath-Arba. The same as Hebron in the land of Canaan. And Abraham came to mourn for Sarah and to weep for her.
Right, so Abraham mourned for his wife. Right, he was applying Sirach 22 and 11, man. Right, because we all mortal men. If you find out that your wife passes or a close friend or a brother, you're going to mourn. You're going to weep. You're going to feel sad. Right, so read on.
And Abraham stood up from before his dead and spake unto the sons of Heth, saying, I am a stranger and a sojourner with you. Give me a possession of a burying place with you.
Right, so he said, give me a possession of a burying place. So he was inquiring about a burying place that he may bury his wife Sarah. Okay?
That I may bury my dead out of my sight.
Real quick, he didn't say, where's the furnace? Right, he didn't say, where the fire at? Right, point me to the flame. I'm about to go get her cremated. No, he said, where's the burying place? Read on.
And the children of Heth answered Abraham, saying unto him, Hear us, my Lord. Thou art a mighty prince among us.
Right, so Abraham was mighty in this thing. Read on.
In the choice of our sepulchres, bury thy dead. None of us shall withhold from thee his sepulchre.
Or his burying place or tomb. Read on.
But that thou mayest bury thy dead. And Abraham stood up and bowed himself to the people of the land, even to the children of Heth. And he communed with them, saying, If it be your mind that I should bury my dead out of my sight, hear me, and entreat for me to Ephron the son of Zohar,
Read on.
that he may give me the cave of Machpelah, which he hath, which is in the end of his field. For as much money as it is worth, he shall give it me for a possession of a burying place amongst you.
Read on.
And Ephron dwelt among the children of Heth, and Ephron the Hittite answered Abraham in the audience of the children of Heth,
Right.
even of all that went in at the gate of his city, saying, Nay, my Lord, hear me. The field I give thee.
The what?
The field give I thee, Salakia. And the cave that is therein I give it thee. In the presence of the sons of my people give I it thee. Bury thy dead.
Do what?
Bury thy dead.
Bury thy dead. Right? So the point is, Abraham dealt with a burial. Right? And Abraham was a righteous man of the Lord who kept the commandments. Right? So if Abraham dealt with a burial, the damn sure we have to deal with a burial as well. Because that's the commandments of the Lord.
I got a point on that. He bought a whole field just to be able to bury his dead family members, right? Like what they call a so-called cemetery, right? So he bought an entire field, a burying place, so he could bury his the dead.
Hey, and that's love, man. Because you know, a lot of brothers, or, you know, a lot of our elders, they may have certain requests. A quick point: they may have a certain request. Hey, you know, kind of bury me next to my wife, bury me next to my brothers, and we see that throughout the scriptures as well. We'll pull it out through the Spirit, Lord willing.
Oh, real quick. And also, people get buried in their hometown. Right? Because you might live and say you from New York, but you moved to California. You've been in California 30 years, and you died in California. A lot of the times they'll ship you back to the land of your nativity, right? The place in which you were born at.
And there's no sin in wanting that, right? There's no sin in wanting, you know, just bury me over there. You know, that's not going to affect that brother's light or his judgment when he go up in the spiritual world. But that's just his request. And that's something you got to reverence and honor if that brother's, you know, has a good name, I'll put it like that. Because not everybody had a good burial. Yeah. Hey, some people just kind of dig up